Hello, my name is Tom, and today we're going to talk about this guy. His name is Jake. Everyone say hi, Jake.
What's it like being 5'1"?
Now, Jake is a commentary channel on YouTube, a guy who calls out other people for their misdeeds, but Jake is not just like any other commentary channel, no. Instead, he's a part of a very specific race of commentary creators, a specific phenotype.
Orange peanut. Now, I'm not talking about Donald Trump's testicles. Oh, yeah.
It's a group of people that all look the same, act the same, think the same, and talk the same.
Fascist propaganda and gamer streamer should not be saying the same thing. Fascist propaganda, fascist propaganda.
It's a stereotype that you guys know by now, the sort of inoffensive dude with no angles on their face. Sometimes they'll have like a weird mullet, sometimes they'll have a quiff, sometimes they'll have a little bit of patchy facial hair. But whatever the case, they always have the same exact opinions that you would think a guy that looks like that would have.
That the Boogaloo Boys are known for wearing Hawaiian shirts. And guess who else always has on a Hawaiian shirt? Despite the fact that he publicly totally does not share in their beliefs, guys.
Everyone recently found out about Jake Doolittle because he uploaded an insane video where he demanded that people donate to his charity and then threatened to expose other commentary YouTubers for not donating to his charity.
I'll give a bunch of examples about how YouTubers have ghosted me and not wanted to help with Never Stop.
But one of the weirdest things that Jake let slip in this video was that he had a history of controversies, a history of past actions that have led other YouTubers to not want to associate with him.
And because I made a video that wasn't received well a year ago, people don't want to work with me.
And it got me thinking, what the freak has Jake Doolittle been up to that's so bad? It's a story that involves stalking, blackmail, knee surgery, low testosterone, and most importantly, knee surgery. So today we're going to go into all of that and much more as we delve into the deep, dark depths of the Jake Doolittle iceberg. Now, before Jake got into YouTube, he actually had a very different passion, and it was dancing. He's a very esteemed, astute dancer. He does a great job at it. Frankly, I'm jealous. But he really got into the whole YouTube thing, doing this whole nice guy breadtuber shtick a few years ago. And his most popular video was doing a collab with Drew Gooden. And the content isn't really anything that special. It's mostly just boring. But if you sift through the videos, there is actually a gold mine of stuff here. Like when he's talking about body positivity, and he ends up going into extreme detail about how bad his acne is and how he picks it and how he just can't stop picking it.
I've been posting a video every single day for almost 2 months. It stresses me out. I get acne, and then with my acne, when I get stressed out, I pick at it.
Like, there was no reason to give this rant. He just volunteered this information. I do not know why. Jake's actual content, though, is pretty formulaic in terms of its style. It's honestly boring, apart from when you find a classic clip of him just saying something or doing something embarrassing. Like taking comedians and looking at their past sets and being like, that aged like milk. That actually aged very badly.
It's fascinating to me that a comedian who bases all of his characters off of stereotypes, dangerous stereotypes if you will, is still one of the top selling comedians of all time.
Kind of problematic, sweetie.
Fascist propaganda.
But one of the earliest beefs that he had, if you can even call it that, with Jake is, I think, a perfect representation of his content. There's another content creator guy named Orange Peanut, okay, also known as Tony.
I will oil up and do the thug shaker.
And he makes like drama, current events content, but at one point he made a video on the fat acceptance movement on TikTok, which is basically when really, really fat people cope about being fat and talk about how it's actually healthy. This is not like a normal fat overweight person thing. This is like insane overweight person thing, delusional, online, insane. The people need to accept us blobs into society. Airlines need to make giant benches for us to sit on so we have space. And basically Tony would just roast these guys and tell them to go to the gym. That was pretty much the video.
Remember that I was an elite athlete for 18 years in one of the hardest sports in the world.
Doing what?
And then
Speed
got a
eating?
full red.
But Jake saw this video and he had a huge problem. No one was going to roast his fat queens like that, not even Tony, all right? So he made a response video titled "Fat Acceptance is a Bad Thing," trying to call out Tony for being fat phobic, which a lot of you probably don't know is a real term, but it is, and it's actually recognized by the Boston Medical Center, so the West has truly fallen.
And I'm back with another video. Orange peanut. Now, I'm not talking about Donald Trump's testicles. Oh, yeah.
In this video, Jake calls out Tony for just generally being a big meanie, and then he tries to roast him back by talking about his icky armpit stretch marks.
Like, I understand that this guy is accepting of his, I don't know, armpit bruises.
To which Tony responded by saying, LOL, you are fat.
He's got some chunk to him. He is definitely a bit chunky. Jake Doolittle Doolittle cardio?
But easily the most insane thing that Jake did in this video is when he out of nowhere accuses Tony of like not respecting girls' consent for some reason.
It's a possibility that you can't do certain things, like bench an unconsenting girl, right, Orange Peanut? Bench an unconsenting girl. Bench an unconsenting girl. Bench an unconsenting girl. Bench an unconsenting girl.
Literally completely out of left field, he just drops that little nugget for no reason, no baseline, just assuming that because this guy is slightly buff, he must be a evil frat guy and doesn't care about girls consenting or something. I don't even know.
We went from nice, lighthearted roasts about appearances and background and content to all of a sudden you're accusing me of not caring about consent of girls?
Now, Tony obviously responded to that, and after this point in time, apparently Jake messaged him to apologize for the comment he made, where he kind of implied that he was rapey. The video is still up to this day, but the comments are disabled, and I assume he used YouTube Editor to trim that part out because I can't find it anymore. But at this point in time, this controversy didn't really extend beyond these two people's audiences. Nobody was talking about it. But I do think looking back, that little jab, that little twist of the knife that Jake pulled there is somewhat indicative of what his future content would hold. Eventually, Rob's Media would upload The Fall of Jake Doolittle, where he documented a string of very weird drama between Jake and Ethan Klein that no one had really seen or talked about before outside of their audiences. Essentially, Jake had uploaded a hit piece on Ethan Klein titled Ethan Klein Harmful or Hypochondriac. Apparently on the H3 podcast, Ethan had been talking about how he thought he had lupus, which is an autoimmune disease where your immune system attacks healthy parts of your body. You may also recognize this as the disease that every patient doesn't have on house.
I don't think this is lupus. So, it's infection, lupus, drugs, or cancer. No, I think lupus is way more likely. Treat him for lupus. That will get you fired.
But all jokes aside, lupus is a very serious disease. If you have it, it can be very life-ruining. And so understandably, Ethan was pretty rattled about the prospect and wanted to talk about it. But it turns out that thankfully, Ethan Klein did not actually have lupus, and he later joked about it on a live stream.
But if you look up all the ones that I'm abnormal for, it all is like, you have leukemia or lupus. I'll take lupus any day, bro. Hit me with that lupus.
And this is where Jake comes in, because apparently, if you didn't know, it was super wrong. And not only wrong, it was extremely problematic that Ethan would make light of such a serious condition after he thought that he actually had it.
Hit me with that lupus.
Okay, I'm being so silly in this. Yeah. Obviously, the premise of choosing one illness over another is silly and absurd. But go ahead and explain why jokes aren't funny.
Is not only undermines people who have lupus.
You know what undermines people? You bitch. Is sitting there pretending to be a doctor.
This video from Jake is a hit piece on Ethan, make no mistake, and it really relies on the assertion that Ethan Klein claimed to have lupus. He then profited from it, and then after that point in time, when he profited, he admitted to fabricating everything because he self-diagnosed himself without experiencing serious symptoms.
If I were Ethan, I would feel terrible for receiving donations from people who have a confirmed diagnosis.
Now, Jake even insinuates here that Ethan is both sexist and racist, and his reasoning for that is that he cites data that lupus disproportionately affects women to a 90% factor versus 10% in men, and is also more prevalent in people of color. Therefore, Ethan is like hurting black women or something.
African American, Hispanic / Latina, Asian American,
Native
you're racist too, dude. And other Pacific Islander women than among white women. With all that being said, now that you know a little bit about what lupus is, let's go back to someone who admittedly doesn't know what lupus is.
I don't even know what the fuck lupus is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you said it.
Checkmate.
What a liar.
Here I am being super transparent and upfront about everything.
While also at the same time, he had to bring out a real breadtuber thing here. He accused Ethan Klein of engaging in classist behavior.
Fascist propaganda.
And again, if we're going to take Ethan's word for it, he had gone through almost all the steps to verify everything. It was a genuine concern that he had. So he was essentially in the process of figuring out if he had lupus. He was very scared about the idea of having it.
The episode was going fine until Ethan said something unexpected.
This morning, it was going fine until Ethan started opening up, being vulnerable about his scary medical issue.
Lying.
And Jake just kind of accused him of lying about it intentionally to profit from donations, as if Ethan even needs more donations. I mean, look, this guy is very rich, all right? We know what he's been up to with Teddy Fresh. He's got a lot of money. I don't think he needs an extra couple $100s from fans donating to the H3 podcast. So obviously this video from Jake was very bad, and it received a very bad reaction, not only from his own audience, but also from those outside outside of it. And so as a result, H3 would make an entire stream dedicated to making fun of Jake. Even other fellow bread tubers would see this video and they'd comment like, dude, you're grasping at straws right now. It's kind of embarrassing and cringe. Now, because Jake was in controversy and he is a commentary YouTuber, you would expect that he would, I don't know, at least have some kind of rebuttal. Maybe he would double down and he would have some kind of justification for why he said what he said. Maybe he would apologize for it and be like, look guys, I effed up. But instead, it took a very interesting route. I will do anything to make this stop. The death threats telling me to end myself and saying I was never sick in the first place is something I cannot handle. I was trying to make a video from the perspective of a sick person and it didn't connect with everyone. I was in the hospital last week after posting the video and I legitimately cannot handle anymore. I apologize to everyone involved. Crying about death threats and then talking about how you're currently in the hospital is going to become a recurring trend whenever Jake is faced with the consequences of his actions. It feels like the idea of death threats is the go-to response for anybody who says something dumb and then it blows up in their face because they accused a big content creator of something that they were not guilty of, and then they get backlash and then they immediately are like, people are being so mean to me. Like, obviously it's a bad thing to make a death threat towards anyone. I don't think you should do that, but you're making public commentary videos on the internet about popular figures. Mean comments and insane people are pretty much par for the course, and at the end of the day, for the most part, it's all just words on a screen you don't have to worry about. Undoubtedly, Jake had made videos about people that had gotten a few schizos from his audience to go make death threats towards those people. That's not Jake's fault, but when he is in controversy, he will immediately cry wolf. And the funniest part about all of this is that the entire reason Jake even made the video is because he was a scorned fan who wanted revenge. Once again, we have another syndrome situation, all right? It's pretty nuts. Basically, Jake had been obsessed with H3 for years. He was a huge fan of him, and at one point he managed to actually get in contact with Ethan. The reason why being that the D'Amelio sisters, who are some of the most popular people on TikTok, they apparently didn't pay Jake for some photos he took for them. They owed him $500 and they did not pay him. And so Ethan saw this and was like, oh, I feel bad for you. And he had him on his show and he was like, I'll give you $500 because I feel bad for you.
Stay on the line. I'm going to send you $500 because the D'Amelio family didn't.
Stop it.
The D'Amelio family didn't pay you $500. I'm going to pay.
But in response, Jake said, no. I don't want the $500. I want a job.
If you look over my resume, can you keep your $500?
Stay on the line. Are you in LA?
He did say he was subscribed.
I'm not in LA. I'm remote, but love
You're
it killing
Maine,
it out of
bro.
Sweden. I bet you I could kill it.
Okay, so stay on the line. I'm going to give you the 500. I'm going to give you the 500 to make you whole.
And Ethan said he would look at his resume, but Jake did not end up getting that job.
And also send your resume. Stay on the hold. We'll get both, okay?
And this is what began Jake's fan behavior arc, where he would basically nonstop message members of the H3 podcast, trying to get them to collab with him, almost all of which were ignored. Dear AB, come on my YouTube channel, please. I will not be ignored. My tip didn't show up on stream, but I did send a bribe. Hi, King. Hope you're good. AB Ayad is king. Make video with me. Come on my channel, please. This is me reminding you to come on my channel. Excuse me, are you doing videos with people now? Now, eventually, one of the crew members, AB, would bite the bullet and finally do a collab with Jake where they looked at TikToks. And it's very funny how Jake opens the video by calling him his pal.
Hi, sisters. Today I'm doing a video with my pal, AB.
Hello. How's it going?
You know, it's going great, man. I'm so happy to have you here. I've wanted to do a video with you for a while.
Look at this guy. He's my pal. We're friends. Didn't you know that I'm friends with one of the producers of the H3 podcast? I'm a part of the H3 fam now, guys. But this was simply not enough. According to AB, while at Creator Clash, Jake would approach him and ask to take photos of him, which he denied. Jake would then apparently find out where their hotel was so he could go up to AB and incessantly once again ask him for a collab.
How did he find you at the hotel? That was the part that I found out.
Oh, yeah, no, the first Creator Clash, because it was a new thing, we didn't have all the security there that we should have, and so fans were finding out where we were staying and like waiting there all night in the lobby just for people to walk by, and he was one of the people that I saw there. I'm guessing he just found out that's where it was, or maybe he got a badge.
AB apparently had no idea how he found their hotel, but he speculates that he could have used a fake press pass to get through, security or something like that. This is honestly like stalker territory. It's becoming dangerously close to like deranged fan seeks out YouTuber they like so that they can like have a relationship with them. He's like in love with AB or something. Now, all of this lore was revealed on the H3 podcast. Jake obviously was in a lot of hot water at the time, and he would end up apologizing for his insane video.
My intention was to stand up for a specific group of people, but instead I came across as an asshole.
The problem with his apology is it's very kind of non-specific. He doesn't really go into what he really did wrong, but he did apologize, so we got to note that. Now, when Rob's Media was covering all this stuff and the whole Jake Doolittle saga, he also touched on Jake's charity called Never Stop, and he talks about how he sells these shirts, but out of the profits of the shirts, only 10% of it goes to his charity. He basically makes the point that it feels like Jake is kind of using this charity to shield himself from criticism so he looks good. And looking back, it's honestly impressive how on the money he was 11 months before Jake dropped his most infamous single video to date.
Not only did I go live thinking that I could clear everything up in the span of 20 minutes while waiting for results from knee scans of the inside of my knee surgeries. It's also, I believe, why my knees, arthritis of the knee, my knee scans, left knee surgeries, my knee screws in, left knee screws out, right knee screws in, right knee screws out. Well, I showed you all my medical files, and I've shown you the inside of my knee.
So recently, as of me recording this video, Jake dropped a new video, a new upload that I was very excited to see because I'm a big fan of him, titled "I'm Frustrated with Commentary YouTubers," with a thumbnail including I'm Alex and Cody Ko, who are both pretty big commentary creators that have been alleged to be involved with crimes against women. Now, the thumbnail was changed pretty soon after to remove these people, but the important thing to note here is that the video has nothing to do with those specific people, at least as far as I know.
Today is going to be a little bit of a different video because I am frustrated with a lot of your favorite creators.
The premise of the video is essentially that Jake is very frustrated with other YouTubers that he knows because he asked them personally to donate to his non-profit charitable organization and they did not donate.
There has been no YouTuber who has ever inquired or donated any money to Never Stop.
He basically says, like, I messaged all these people and I told them about my charity and some of them didn't donate to me, some of them didn't give me money, which I found really bad, and I see how much money they're making on their closed friends story on Instagram, and they're making a lot of money, so they need to give me money.
A lot of these YouTubers love talking about holding people accountable for their wrongdoings and all that kind of shit, but when I try to say, hey, if you have any extra money, we are giving $500 a month. I know that you just put on your close friend story that you're making 15 grand off this brand deal. Hey, I would love the help. My views are down, but you're getting, I don't know, 50,000 subs a month. What are we doing here?
And it gets even more insane as Jake then implies that he is going to expose some of these YouTubers, and one specific one apparently, in the future because they're not donating to his charity, and he's going to like try to nuke their career because they don't give him $500.
Throughout this video, I'm not going to name names, but I would like you to know that I am going to name names at some point, possibly next month or so, if my following up with these people amounts to nothing and I keep getting ghosted.
So not only is he acting extremely entitled and demanding that people donate to his specific charity, not only is he pocket watching them and being like, you make so much money, why don't you give it to me? But he's also essentially threatening to blackmail, or at least try to blackmail the people he DM'd by threatening to reveal the names of people who ignored his message.
I want someone to tell me why US senators and representatives are more likely to work with me than other influencers in the commentary space who I have talked to.
Personally, as a sociopath, a scholar of the 48 Laws of Power, and a member of the dark triad of psychology, I will say that I respect his attempt here, but it wasn't very effective. And when you see this controversy recently, it really makes you think like, he's crying about people who ignored his messages. This seems to be a pattern of behavior. This guy does not like when you ignore his texts, and if you do ignore his texts, he might try to ruin your life. Ignoring his message is like a mental trigger for him to fly off the handle and become a supervillain.
My views are down, but you're getting, I don't know, 50,000 subs a month. What are we doing here?
Just because people are more popular than you and have more subscribers doesn't mean they have to buy one of your shitty Teespring shirts so 10% of the revenue goes to charity. It doesn't matter how rich you are. It does not make you a good person if you donate to charity. If you have $1 billion and instead of donating that to St. Jude's Children's Hospital, you instead decide to blow a hole in the side of Mount Rushmore, build a beautiful gamer cave, and then move Ninja in there so his braless wife can bring him sandwiches while he cranks 90s, that is totally up to you, and you should not feel bad because you spend your money in a way that you like and want to. And YouTubers are also not obligated to respond to his messages or collab with him.
Because I'm petty and because this isn't about supporting me, it's about supporting people who need the support, I'll give a bunch of examples about how YouTubers have ghosted me and not wanted to help with Never Stop.
I don't even know why he would say this. Like, are you okay?
And I'm not doing this because I think that it's going to light a fire under influencers to donate to Never Stop, because it's not going to happen. This video is not going to do anything.
Then why are you making this video? YouTube is not a therapist you can just rant out all your frustrations to and expect a positive result. This is a public platform and you are a commentary channel who makes a living off of criticizing other people. So admitting that this video will do nothing to me seems very strange, and to me also backs up the fact that this guy is so bitter. Now, as I mentioned, Jake talked about one specific influencer in this video that he was really peeved at. Some guy that he was messaging about potentially donating to his charity, to which that guy then ghosted him, I guess.
I give this person advice, and because they asked for it, right? And then after this call, I say, hey, I really appreciate that I was able to give you advice, but I would love some advice on how to grow my nonprofit, because I feel like you know a lot about this kind of stuff. I would love to talk. And I'm gonna send a follow-up this week, but if there's no response, I don't know what to do.
Sigma rule number 14, blackmail your friends.
And it's at this point we get to the part that made me make this whole video and do 7 live stream clips about him in the first place. He complains about the fact that because he made a video a year ago, which I assume was the Ethan Klein video, people don't want to work with him or do collabs with him anymore, as if he deserves to have a collab with them.
And because I made a video that wasn't received well a year ago, people don't want to work with me. But the problem is, when you're putting out as much content as I am, there's going to be videos that aren't received well. I feel like that's simple math. Just in the last 6 months, I've posted 73 videos. Who else is doing that?
I'm going to take a step back from my hater arc here and say that I do believe that pretty much everyone has the opportunity to grow and change as a person, and I don't think that, you know, things like this, even what Jake has done here, I don't think that should be held against him for the rest of his life, okay? I don't. Everyone does have the capacity to change and become a better person. But just because you feel that you've changed doesn't mean you get to cry about the fact that other YouTubers don't want to associate with you. You don't get to call them evil because they don't want to be involved with someone that tried to slander Ethan Klein and got blown out for it.
Who else is doing that?
When I was watching this for the first time, I thought he was trolling or something. I could not believe it. This video received a significant amount of backlash, even more than the H3 thing. It was almost universally hated, apart from a few glazers in his comment section trying to defend him, but really the majority of the consensus was that Jake made himself look like an entitled pussy, crying about people leaving him on red. And not only that, they also went on to criticize his charity. I'm not sure why someone would donate to Jake Doolittle. He helps a total of 12 people a year, half the buttons on his jank site don't work, and it's essentially a lottery to be chosen. Your money would be better spent literally anywhere else. I don't get it. Now, Jake did actually try to hide his video initially, because I watched it on live stream. I spent about, I don't know, an hour and 20 minutes watching the entire thing, and about half an hour later, the video was removed off of YouTube. But of course, that didn't stop some familiar faces from finding it and roasting him about it for 3 hours.
Who else is doing that? And
so many people, man. Again, this man is having delusions. Like, I don't know what's going on, but to be like, I'm posting 3 videos a week. Who else on YouTube is doing that? It's like
a lot of people.
Everybody?
Probably close to 1 million people.
Yeah, like 1 million?
Yeah.
Also,
I mean, a lot of them are posting a lot more than you, man.
Yeah. Sure.
I just realized, as a side note, he shouldn't be talking about being left on red, because he left me on red. The last thing I said to him when I said, is he serious about making a video about you?
Right, you tried to talk him out of it.
I said, that is insane. I go, as a viewer, I'm honestly shocked that you would take that seriously in any way possible.
Now, Jake was very aware that this live stream was happening, and as a result, he decided to type in the chat and say, hey, can this wait? I'm actively in the hospital. I'm actively in the, as opposed to passively, inactively in the hospital. Like, what does that even mean? But once again, this is the exact same thing that he cried about a year ago when Ethan called him out for trying to slander him. And obviously, Ethan ended up responding to that message and had some choice words.
Bro, are you crazy? You think you're gonna emotionally manipulate me into not watching this? Are you crazy, bro?
Now, for the time being, Jake was radio silent on YouTube. He had removed the video. He was in Ethan's comment section, but he wasn't responding to any of the criticism directly. But in his infinite wisdom, he decided to fire up a live stream on Instagram while he was in the hospital to talk about what was happening.
Oh, I released like a video like 2 days ago that was really bitter and annoyed. So this is me just checking in, saying hello, apologizing.
He kind of tacitly acknowledges that it was a bad video, but he doesn't really get into why. He kind of makes it seem like he's getting unjustly canceled or called out. And a large majority of it is also him saying that H3 is evil for punching down on little Jake.
You shouldn't feel the need to delete videos that are important to you. Yeah, but usually the videos that are important to me don't get, it's like a bad take usually. Like people don't like it. You should go on H3 and talk with them. That won't do anything.
And he also talks about his knee surgeries a lot, which spawned a lot of memes.
I'm about to schedule 2 more knee surgeries. I have no.
Now, this live stream only went out to a few people when it happened because Jake has a pretty small following on his Instagram, but people obviously heard of it because he was in controversy and they decided to screen record it and upload it. One of those preservers, one of those uploaders was Rob's Media, who decided to archive both the original video from Jake and the live stream to his YouTube channel. Now, obviously this content is 1000% Jake's, and legally he's within his right to take down archives of it if he wants, but I would say it's probably bad practice to take these things down. Firstly, because Rob's Media is not making money off of his content, really. He's just re-uploading stuff that Jake posted so other people can access it. And on top of that, archives are extremely useful. A lot of media will be lost to time, either because of controversy, either because people just don't do a good job of preserving it, and Rob's Media, as a lost media aficionado, wanted to preserve this content. But Jake had a different idea.
Racists.
Jake Doolittle put a copyright takedown request and placed a strike on my second channel, Rob's Media Archive. Obviously, it's his content, but it's an archive. He's not doing this to protect his content, but instead to hide his mistakes instead of owning up to them.
Hi, sisters. It's Jake here, and I'm back with another video. And I'm here with my pal,
And another important thing to keep in mind here is when you take down content on YouTube, you can actually choose the way that it gets taken down. For example, when a YouTuber uses copyrighted music in a video, there are 2 options that usually go down. First off, they'll get a straight up copyright claim. And what that means is that the revenue from that video will be paid to the original copyright holder. So if you use a Foo Fighters song in your video, unedited in full, there's a high likelihood that the label will then claim your video and take money from it. But then there's another kind of claim, which is where a video will get blocked worldwide. Basically, the claimant has decided that they don't want people to be able to use that content on YouTube, and as a result, if you use that Foo Fighters song, what's going to happen? Your video is not able to be seen by anyone. But then there is a third option, which is the strike. You can manually choose to add a strike to that person's channel to penalize their livelihood. And of course, Jake, because he's spiteful and bitter, had to go out of his way to make sure there was a strike on Rob's Media's archive channel.
They make YouTube videos sexualizing Minecraft characters.
And not only that, he did it a second time to Rob's Media, meaning Rob had 2 strikes. It's the epitome of the cry bully mentality. It's flip-flopping between victim mode and then aggressively censoring your critics. On one hand, he's crying in H3's chat about the harassment, and on the other, he's vehemently taking down archives and striking Rob's channel and crying about how Ethan is punching down. Now, with everyone talking about Jake's original video, with them talking about his past, with the strikes being a big point of discussion and people just going in on Jake, obviously, he definitely felt the pressure to respond, and eventually, he actually would.
My last video sucked, and the following live stream of me in the hospital trying to see what my audience thought of the video and if everybody hated me was also a really stupid decision.
Off the bat, he acknowledges the controversy is happening. He acknowledges why it's happening. He doesn't seem to be making a lot of excuses for it.
There's a lot to address, and thinking that I could clear things up while on a vertical live stream holding the phone below my chin is clown behavior.
From here, Jake explains that he had just watched a video of another YouTuber ranting off the dome and then decided that he should do it himself about something he cared about. But he does willingly say multiple times, yes, my video was very bad. It was unscripted and I was ranting like a lunatic, but that's no excuse. He kind of does make a few excuses for himself, which, you know, they're probably true. This is probably the headspace he was in, but I just don't really care to hear about it.
But I thought that I could explain what was going on while in the ER, in a lot of pain, scans of the inside of my knee.
He talks about how during the time that this video was made, he had recently been denied insurance after multiple surgeries, and overall he was in a very bad mood.
I was very upset recording that.
What is strange about this is that he says that he does stand by some of the stuff he said in the video to this day, which I'm kind of struggling to figure out what that would be and where that would make sense, because I think the whole video was like pretty bad. Like, it's rare you get a video where every second of it is bad, but Jake's video was that. Jake also talks about how he came across as extremely entitled, and he now realizes that he is not entitled to anyone's money, and that basically everything he said was wrong in that regard.
The attitude and the tone, everything was bad. I came across as annoying and entitled, and I apologize for making people feel pressured and like hinting at outing people who didn't fucking donate.
But one part of the video that I take a big issue with is when he tries to explain that he didn't expect this video to leave his target audience.
I posted that video genuinely not thinking anyone would see it because our website is not functioning at all. I thought that people would recognize my frustration as me trying or showing people that I care.
But his actions don't really reflect that. I mean, in the original video, the thumbnail has Cody Ko and I'm Alex, who are two of the most popular commentary YouTubers probably ever. And on top of that, they're also two people who have been majorly exposed. So he gave it a very provocative title and a provocative thumbnail to get people to click it because he wanted views on it. This video is tailor-made to get as many people watching as possible. If he wanted to make a video for his core audience, which is a dumb idea in the first place because like you're uploading on a public platform where anyone can see your videos, but whatever. If he wanted to make a video for his core audience, it would just be like him in the thumbnail with like, let's chat about something dumb or let's talk about what I'm feeling today. But instead, he made a nice thumbnail. He wanted to get it marketed to as many people as possible. Now, another really cringe part of Jake's original video is when he says that no commentary YouTuber works as hard as him.
Just in the last 6 months, I've posted 73 videos. Who else is doing that?
And in this follow-up, he seems to acknowledge that that's not really the case, and he's just being very weird here with that. A majority of the apology is him saying, yeah, I said this thing was really stupid. Here's my thought process and why I said it, but it's still stupid. But even if you're willing to buy his explanations for that stuff, it doesn't excuse the copyright strikes.
When it comes to the copyright claims themselves, they were straight re-uploads of the live stream and my original video that I took down at like 11,000 views. I retracted one of the strikes on the re-uploads because the person emailed me and asked me to retract it. I also felt bad because this person created a new YouTube account to try to re-upload archives, and they had already gotten like over 2,000 subs off of an archive channel.
Just because they were re-uploads does not mean that they shouldn't be re-uploaded for the sake of preservation. Jake even acknowledges that the purpose of it was for archiving, and he didn't really give a reason as to why he took these down as far as like why he really did it or why he felt like it would be a good thing to do. He kind of just moves on after saying, yeah, I copyright strike those, they were re-uploads, which in my opinion is not a very good explanation for why you did that. And he then goes on a tirade about how people accused him of faking his illness and he actually has the illness and he didn't fake his illness or whatever.
Well, I showed you all my medical files and I've shown you the inside of my knee tearing apart due to those diagnoses. I don't know what else I can give you.
Now, at the end of the day, where does all of that leave us? What position are we in? Well, I think that regardless of if this apology video is received positively or not by Jake's core fan base, his core audience, I think that this video will definitely discourage a lot of people from wanting to work with him again. Because making a mistake once is one thing, and I can, you know, have sympathy for that. And at the same time, making a mistake again is also something I can have sympathy for. But the problem is that Jake didn't just alienate a few little people out there who he doesn't really know. He didn't just alienate Orange Peanut or Rob's Media or Ethan Klein, which is three people that you probably don't want to alienate, but it wasn't just them. He also went out of his way to alienate himself from the very YouTubers he claims to respect and love so much. Jake Doolittle, at the end of the day, is not really even a commentary YouTuber. He is a commentary YouTube fan. He begs people for collab videos constantly. When he doesn't get his way, he has a mental breakdown about it. He seeks out AB in real life to take photos of him against his will. Frankly, I don't even want to imagine what his DMs are like with like Danny Gonzalez or Cody Ko. Who knows what he was like when he was asking them for collabs. At the end of the day, Jake to me seems like someone who just needs a friend. He just needs a hug. He just needs someone to respond to his DM. But I wouldn't count on that happening. In fact, what I'd instead count on is the fact that no commentary YouTuber is going to want to collab with this guy inside of a 5-year period. But that's about all for today, folks. Hope you enjoyed this longer video. Had a lot to say in this one, but tomorrow I'll be back to reading Nice Guys or something. But that video got limited ads, so had to make up for it somehow. Bye.